Hello, friends. Welcome back. I decided to try Dry January this year, 2025. And if you are interested to hear about how my experience went and what it was like to ditch the drinks for a month, then please make sure you continue watching this video. Yes, I did Dry January this year. And it was not my first time doing Dry January. The first time that I participated in it was last year. But let me rewind just in case some people do not know what Dry January is, have never heard of it. So, from my understanding, Dry January is when you give up alcohol consumption for the entire month of January. So, from January 1st to January 31st, you do not consume any alcohol. And I found out about this last year actually. I feel like I might have heard about Dry January in the past, but I never really looked into it. But last year was the year I decided, hey, I want to try this. I want to see if I can give up alcohol for a month, if I can cut back on my alcoholic consumption. So I did some research and I found an app I could actually download on my phone, which is able to track how you're doing from day to day. I might put some clips in this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But I think Dry January was started in the UK by a charity organization. So it was started in the UK, and I think it has just exploded since then. And people take part in it every year. They do Dry January. So that was me. I'm one of those people. I decided to do Dry January in 2024, and I also decided to do it this year in 2025. So why did I decide to try it again? I think I just like a challenge, to be honest. I like to challenge myself and see if I can do something different. And when I was doing it last year, I definitely noticed that I was not really happy about the way that I was consuming alcohol in social settings. I feel like it was just becoming too routine, and I did not like that at all. And I wanted to put an end to that because I don't want to become so reliant on something to I don't want to become so reliant on something that is going to affect my experience. I don't want to have to rely on the confidence of alcohol to have a good time. So really that was some of my reasoning for wanting to participate in Dry January last year, and it definitely just kind of changed my entire outlook on alcohol and my relationship to alcohol. And then the connection to self-care, it's a way for me to care for myself, right? It's a way for me to take care of my physical, my mental, and my emotional well-being. So that's definitely why that contributed to why I wanted to participate in Dry January. Yes, we're going to get into some of the challenges that are posed when you're doing a challenge such as Dry January. So we all know that, or maybe we all don't know, because I don't want to assume that everybody consumes alcohol, but it is very common that alcohol is kind of the center of a social setting. Anywhere you go, usually people are at a bar or people are buying drinks, or I feel like alcohol is kind of the center of a social scene, right? And that can be very difficult when you're trying to do a challenge such as Dry January. So, say for instance, you're going out with some friends and you're meeting up with people, or you're at a family gathering, typically alcohol is present. So, it can be difficult to abstain from drinking alcohol when it is just around you and in your face all of the time. And I feel like that can be challenging for some people who are really interested in doing a challenge like Dry January, because you really have to kind of have the willpower to know that I'm not going to participate in this drinking or this consumption of alcohol. I'll still attend these social environments, but I don't want to drink. So that's where the challenges come in. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from specific settings because you know that it will trigger your interest in like wanting to consume alcohol. So I would say like that is one of the challenges. I feel like when you're trying to participate in a challenge such as Dry January. Another challenge could also be just like the peer pressure, maybe peer pressure from others, but also the pressure you put on yourself to want to be included or wanting to feel like in the in crowd, right? So like if you're around other people that are drinking, they might peer pressure you to like, oh, just take a sip. Oh, like it's not that big of a deal. Like you can start fresh tomorrow. And like this can be the case in certain situations for people. So that peer pressure that you have from others that are around you, maybe from family, maybe from friends, they don't really see the importance of you taking on a challenge such as this one, or not really understanding like why you would want to do something like that. And also like the pressure you might put on yourself to want to fit in or not want to be outcast. um it's so crazy, like, you know, like just that feeling of like you're doing something for your health and for your benefit, and then other people can make you feel like you are like you're weird for wanting to do something such as like giving up alcohol for the month. I feel like it's very interesting to like be on the outside looking in when you aren't drinking, and you just realize just how much like you can become an outsider and feel like you're missing out when you don't participate in consuming alcohol in like a social environment. Like when you're around other people, you really can feel like an outsider, and it's so wild to me because what you're putting into your body does not concern anyone else. It should not concern anyone else. But people get so like, they just get this visceral like feeling of like telling you that like something's wrong with you, or like um they're just like, I don't know, they're just so like taken aback that you would like want to stop drinking alcohol. And it is very interesting. It is something that I noticed a lot when doing Dry January last year and also this year. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to notice and like make note of like how people react to you when you say you are doing like a challenge such as this, not even just like for the month, but maybe you like want to give up alcohol for a longer period. Like you just start to see how people um react to like you not wanting to consume alcohol. I didn't drink at all for the month of January, and that also led into basically like half the year I didn't drink. I think I drank like I I drank once in February while I was in Mexico after Dry January because I went to a mezcal factory, so I wanted to try the mezcal. But like after that, I didn't drink up until like I returned back home. I think it was like, it had to be like July, I want to say. I was back in the States, but I did not drink for a long time, like after Dry January. Um, and I just noticed that like I had more energy. I didn't have that groggy feeling, you know, like after you drink and you wake up the next morning, you still feel kind of like, ugh, like why did I drink? Like why did I do this? So I didn't have any of those feelings. I feel like I have more energy. I feel like when I'm working out, like I'm not like feeling like exhausted or like feeling weighed down. I feel like my body kind of like didn't carry that extra um I don't know if it's like sugar or like liquid from alcohol like in my stomach area. Like I just feel like I was more slimmed down and more toned in like my abdominal region, which I absolutely love. So no complaints about that. And yeah, it just felt good to not feel like I had to rely on alcohol to like enhance my experiences, right? So for this year, I actually I'm recording this on the 28th. Um and I actually did drink one of the days this month. And I feel like last year, if that happened, I would have beat myself up about it. But I didn't do that this year because I know that my relationship to alcohol has changed like drastically from like last year to now. which is why I did not beat myself up about having a drink this month. Yes, I still participated in dry January, but I did not feel bad for having a drink. And one thing that I do like about the app that I actually didn't use it this month because I knew that I was like okay and I didn't need to like constantly track my progress from day to day. But in the app, there is an option. There's like three options, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. It's if you stay dry, if you had a drink, and I think the other option is like if you had a drink and you intended to have that drink. So for me, I went out over the weekend and I intended to have a drink. I went to a speakeasy and I wanted to try their drink. So that was okay for me. And I do like the fact that that app like supports like if you do have a slip up or if you do plan to have a drink, like it's okay, like you're still participating in the challenge. You might not have done all 31 days, but like you have still made an effort to make sure that you're like monitoring your alcoholic intake. So that is a little bit of my experience from like last year and also this year of participating in the challenge. So that I do appreciate that more restaurants or more bars or whatever places that you go to are offering alternative options to drinking. They're offering non-alcoholic beverages that you can drink. So I did do that a lot. I used those alternatives a lot last year. Not so much this year. Like I didn't really need to use those alternatives. But even like throughout 2024, when I was like still like not consuming alcohol, I would use those alternatives or I would go for like ginger ale. So just like still feeling like I know I didn't have alcohol, but like still having a drink that wasn't alcohol. Like it was still it was a mocktail. That's the word. Lord, I was looking for the word and I couldn't come up with it. I had mocktails. And this is just a way for I feel like people to still feel included, although like much of it is sugar, okay? Like it is sugar and juice. But if you still want to feel included in like going out with your friends and like, pretending like you have a drink, so you have yourself a mocktail. And I do appreciate that more restaurants are incorporating mocktails on their menus. I think it is a very inclusive practice, especially for people that are not only doing dry January, but for people that are um, maybe recovering from like alcohol use and want to have like alternatives, they can go for a mocktail, right? So I do appreciate that more places are incorporating those onto their menus. So, how has my perspective changed on alcohol and self care? I've realized that I don't need alcohol to have a good time. And I think that is the conditioning of like just being in a country that really just kind of like sells you on like having a drink to have a good time, having a drink to unwind. Like it's just kind of like always there, it's always present. And that to me is just like, for me personally, very detrimental because then you start relying on this to have a good time, to enjoy yourself, to whatever you want to call it. Like, and I just don't want that to be my story. So I really learned like after doing the challenge last year and like not drinking alcohol for like almost half the year and also participating again this year in dry January, it just, yeah, it's not like the experience that I want to have with alcohol. I don't want to rely on it to have a good time. I don't want it to um I feel like it's a false sense of like confidence that it gives you. Like I want that confidence like just on my own. Like I don't want to have to rely on having alcohol to have that confidence boost. You know what I mean? So that's what I've realized like from doing this challenge. A lot of our culture revolves around this. So I mean, like I don't know what it takes to shift from that. I think like, people are doing people are doing their own like challenges for themselves, like to see if they can change up their relationship to alcohol. But we are in a culture that really heavily focuses on just like social drinking. And sometimes that can be very problematic because it turns into other things I will not get into on this video. But yeah, it can still be a part of my life, but it has to look differently. And that's why I appreciate challenges such as Dry January. So I'm able to like challenge myself to give up alcohol for a month and see what other effects that might have. For me, it definitely improves my decision making, it improves my emotional capacity, it improves my physical well-being. So overall, it just improves my self-care, and that is why I decided to take on this challenge for the month of January in 2025. I'll leave off by saying I do appreciate Dry January, the Dry January challenge. I've done it 2 years in a row now. Last year I went all 31 days. This year it'll probably be 30 days because I'm recording this on the 28th, but I don't foresee myself drinking the rest of the days of January. But yeah, like it's a good challenge for somebody that is looking to like monitor their alcoholic consumption or reduce it. Like, and if you do find that like you're interested in doing a challenge such as this, then go for it. Like, and don't beat yourself up about struggling through it because it can be hard. But also like downloading that app is a great way of accountability, maybe connecting with family or friends to let them know that you are going to be participating in the challenge, so like they can know not to like offer you drinks or not to feel not to peer pressure you into drinking. But if they're peer pressuring you, then there's some reevaluation that needs to happen there. But yeah, best of luck if you do try to do a challenge such as this one. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my experience. Let me know in the comments below if you have tried January in the past, if you tried it this year, how did it go for you? Check out my other self-care videos that I have talked about. I will link some of them probably in this video or in the comment section, um, the description box, sorry. But yes, let me know how you like the video. Please make sure you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.